turn it down a little bit. All right, what up? What up? What up? What up, followers? What up, subscribers? What up? If this is the first time that you found me, what's up? My name is Bobby Dorless, but my friends call me Bobby D. And when you see me in these streets, holla at your boy is Bobby D. What's going on, family? First of all, I want to say thank you to all the people that watched my video on YouTube. The other day I checked it, it had 1,000 views. I was blown out of my mind. I actually started to get nervous and I'll be like, yo, I don't even know if I'm going to release any more content, but you know what? I got to keep coming back with it because there's a simple question that I haven't even answered yet and people are already watching my video. The question is, who is Bobby D? Who is this persona, this person, whatever you want to call me, this being, this life being standing in front of you, really trying to change the way that you think about things, leaning on some of the skill sets that I developed over the years, and really just making sure you know who you are in the presence of so that we can really be friends. So you can call me Bobby D for real. So, one thing that I do on a daily basis is I write in my book. It's my planner, but also my diary, and basically any scratch notes or any things that I want to be able to manifest happens inside this book. Now, obviously with a planner, the beginning of the planner is mostly calendar stuff, but in the back I have these scrap sheets of paper that I write down all kinds of ideas that I have. And let me tell you, the power of writing, if you don't know, if you put your thoughts down on paper, somehow they start to come true, especially if you start to repeat them, saying them, reading them, manifesting them, they come true. That's a whole nother topic that we can talk about in another video because I got to introduce myself first. But I wrote down in my book, who is Bobby D? I think I wrote down 6 phrases, mantras, 6 things to really describe who I am. And I hope this really gives you a clarity of the kind of mindset that I come with and the conversations that I'm hoping that we'll have. I'll also pull up my Twitter page so we can read my profile just a little bit and give you some links that you can connect to me. And hopefully, you know, we can really link up on platforms like LinkedIn, IG, Twitter, obviously. But in general, just letting you know that I'm a resource that's available on the internet. You can find me in these streets. Anyway, when I wrote down, who is Bobby D? One of the first things I wrote down is that I'm a family man. I know that sometimes when people first meet me, they may think I'm a little younger than what I look. I'm actually born in the 80s. I'm an 80s baby, and I have a line in there about being an 80s baby, but in general, I have a wife and 2 kids, and I have a very large Haitian branch of family on my side and a large Dominican family on my wife's side. They're all my family. They're all my kids. They're all part of me, right? We're all on this journey together, and definitely something that I hold close to my heart is my family. Another thing that describes myself when you say who is Bobby D is that I'm an engineer to the core. Now, when I say I'm an engineer to the core, I enjoy solving problems, breaking things, taking things apart, and putting them back together. Now, when you think about once you see my profile and kind of connect together how I'm always talking about this Twitter thing and me being an engineer, is that computers have been one of the skill sets that I developed over the years, and I've taken it to another level, becoming subject matter expert, principal engineer, and having a chance to work at companies like Twitter. If you didn't know, I worked at Twitter for about 9 years as a site reliability engineer, and we'll go in more to those information when I pull up my Twitter profile. Another thing that describes me is I'm wise as an oracle. I'm an index of knowledge. I tell my students sometime and my mentees, like, don't be afraid to ask a question, especially asking me a question, because you might miss out catching or leaving with a bag or 2 of information. I'm always trying to make sure that the knowledge I gained over the years are spread out as far as possible. So when I say I'm an oracle of information or wise as an oracle, come and holler at me. Ask me a question. You'll be surprised what you might receive. Promise you that. Another thing that I've really enjoyed doing and wrote down is inspirational with words. One things that I enjoy, and I hope you find out is a gift of mine, is my way to put words together. I'll sometimes, put bars together and might have a rhyme or 2, but in general, my way of really impacting the next generation or even customers or clients that I'm dealing with, because I'm always selling myself, is inspirational with words, inspiring the next. Really foundational. I'm also somebody that motivates by setting examples. So, one thing that working at Twitter, being a black engineer, is that I had to find a space for me to be the right, or find a space for me to contribute in the right light of motivating the next generation. Imagine if you worked in a place where you're like one of the first black people there, right? And then all of a sudden, all these black people start to work there. One thing that I told my mentees always is that I'm a cultural mentor by setting examples in the way I work, the way I move, the way I handle myself, and so on and so forth. And I have plenty of stories of how that has impacted people's lives by motivating by setting examples. Holla at your boy is Bobby D. And the last thing that I wrote down is I am one of the coolest 80s babies you've ever met. Now, the reason why I wrote this down is that being that I was born in the 80s, my experience has been different than everyone else. If you're born in the 80s, you understand what I'm talking about when I say that our exposure to technology is at a different level than anybody has ever experienced. Because I remember when I had to be home to catch a phone call. I actually have a chapter in my book about making sure that you're at home by 7:30 to catch that phone call because you don't want your mom on the other line listening in plotting about what you're talking about, right? That's the era that 80s babies come from, to where now my phone is like I'm walking with a camera and a phone and a computer and just about anything and everything that I want, and a device, a mobile device as small as this, right? Or small as this, however you're describing it, right? But in general, being a part of that very noteworthy group of 80s babies really changes my perspective and how I solve problems, how I design and engineer systems, or just how I've experienced life in technology and engineering, because I go way back. Yes, the 80s is where I start, but the 90s is where I picked up some skills, and 2000 is when I really leveled up. And where I'm at right now, you can't even imagine the experience that I bring to the table. So, quickly, these are the 6 ways or words, phrases, mantras that I describe myself. Um, and it's really something that I'm going to stand by as I continue. I might update this video a little bit later to talk about who I am. But the last thing that I want to leave you with is check out my profile. Check out my Twitter page. It's BobbyD underscore FL. And on that page, you'll see more information about me. One thing you'll find out is that I've been in technology and engineering for 20 years. I started back in 2002. I mean, I'm an 80s baby, right? I go way back, right? 2002 is when I got my first job in the field of technology and engineering, working at the help desk, and being in the career and industry for 20 years and getting a chance to work at Twitter for 9. Also in that profile, you'll see the new company that I've established. It's called the Tech Hustle. I'm the founder, CEO, the chief what did I call myself? Chief engineer of the internet. Or no, actually I apologize. It's conscious engineer of the internet, CEO. Sometimes I gotta write that down so I can remember it and be able to give it off the cuff and not have to edit this out. Because I only do these videos one take. I don't do editing and nothing like that. I ain't got enough time for that. One take, post it, and hopefully you like it. But the other thing you'll notice on my Twitter page and profile is that, yes, I'm an ex-Twitter engineer, and I actually was able to get to the staff level of engineering. Now, it's something very noteworthy as being a person of color, underrepresented, and minority in our industry, and just being exposed to technology the way that I have been, and still being able to level myself up to actually achieve the title of staff engineer. We could talk even more about the different type of positions and levels in engineering, but as a staff engineer, respectfully, you understand that my skill set is a little bit higher than most. And I also specialize in the field of site reliability engineering, which I can spend hours talking about, because those skill set requires you to be not just one type of engineer, but it's like a multi-level engineer servicing and supporting Twitter at a very high level. As an example, I'm a software engineer, so I write software, but I'm also systems engineer, which is really my foundational skill set, and we can talk for hours about that. The other thing you'll see on there is that I'm a motivational speaker. I really do enjoy getting on stage and inspiring the next generation. I'm a keynote speaker, so if you have an event that you're looking for somebody like me to come and level everybody up, holla at your boy is Bobby D. And then the last 2 hashtags that you see there is Team Doorless, is where you can find out what's going on with my family. And a hashtag that I've been following since it's been created, big shout outs to the community, is Black Tech Twitter. Other than that, that's all that it is about Bobby D. Nothing special, but somebody that started off, at the bottom, a little bit under the bottom, because I'm a child of an immigrant. My LinkedIn page and profiles are there also, so definitely click around and check it out. If you have any questions, you want me to dive into even more information, please add a comment below. I promise you I'll get online and definitely answer those, preferably with some type of video, but if not, it'll be in the comments. But other than that, that's all that I have, and I really do appreciate the time. I appreciate the conversation, and I look forward to hollering at you soon. It's your boy, Bobby D.